Subscribe to BBBox.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Good luck, bro.
What's going on, team? Here we are, back again with Big Boys Boxing Live. And today, bit of a just a chat really, but we do have a little bit of news. Zhilei Ahang, who was supposed to be facing Filip Hrgovic in the IBF final eliminator, has got a late replacement opponent in Scot Alexander. He's very durable, so Zhang's likely to at least get rounds out of it. It is what it is. We'll have a bit closer look at Scot Alexander in a few minutes once everybody rolls in and I've got all my shiznicks sorted. So first things first, I need to get into the live panel channel and drops a link for anybody who may like to join. So there is the link. I'll pin that to the top so it does not disappear. It will always be there. Alright, and I have to do a sound check as well. We've got mostly plant-based boxing in the house. Hi, good to have you in, man. Is Zhang still fighting for the title? He was never fighting for the title, bro. It was a final eliminator for the IBF mandatory position to challenge the winner of Usyk v Joshua. However, the WBO is last in the queue at the moment because obviously Alexander Usyk was the last WBO mandatory. So there's still the WBA and the IBF in front of whoever becomes the IBF. I've mixed something up there. Yeah, the WBO is last in line. So the WBA is before the IBF because the last IBF mandatory was Kurat Pulev and he got his shot against Anthony Joshua. The WBA hasn't had a mandatory to determine since Alexander Povetkin was the last WBA mandatory, I believe, and that was a fair time ago. But yes, the final eliminator, according to the IBF, has to be rescheduled. So Filip Hrgovic going through some grief after the death of his father. The fight between Zhang and Filip Hrgovic will be rescheduled, of course, provided Zhilei Ahang gets past Scot Alexander, which he should, as long as he hasn't got kidney failure like he did against Jerry Forrest, you know. So it is what it is. I'm guessing this Zhang fight is going to be dropped down the card some. Well, actually I can show you. I know it is. Give me a sec here. I'll just switch this over to my browser for a sec. If I can remember how to do it. Of course I can remember how to do it. get back to here. Right, we're back to the chat. Let me get over and have a look what's going on over here. Zhilei Ahang. Drop the link. Blah blah blah. Okay, so Zhang must be annoyed. I'm sure he will be annoyed, but I don't know, just the temperament of the guy. I don't think he's the guy that's gonna let any kind of aggravation get to him or make him have a better or worse performance. He seems like a really placid kind of guy, like a gentle giant, unless he hits you with a big bang straight left down the pipe. It won't feel so calm then, but yeah, I personally think because he's had such a stalled professional career, he's let himself get to 38 years old without being in any big fights. I think Zhilei Ahang is an upset waiting to happen, but I don't think Scot Alexander is the guy who's going to be able to upset him. Filip Hrgovic v Otto Wallin would be a great fight. Yeah, Otto Wallin's going to be fighting Rydell Booker. I don't like that fight. It'll be a stay busy. I mean, Rydell Booker's 42 years old. I mean, he's got a bit of pop. He's still fairly durable, but I don't know. I thought maybe Dillian Whyte might want to try and get back in the mix and give Otto Wallin that fight, but you know, after being in the ring getting sparkoed by Fury in 6 when Wallin went 12, busted Fury's eye, and a lot of people think Wallin even won that fight. Maybe Dillian Whyte doesn't really want that fight after all. It is much to think about, but you know, we've got quite a few fights that have been made around the top echelon of the division at the moment. So there's a lot of guys busy. If Dillian Whyte coming back, we'll have to just take what he gets. Probably have some kind of tune-up in this first one, back from getting sparkoed, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Carl Roberts, good to have you in, bro. Always a pleasure. Just looking at a few of these comments. I think Hrgovic would KO Wallin. Yeah, Hrgovic definitely has some power, but he hasn't been in the ring at a decent level. I really don't like how he hits with open hands a lot, slaps people, and he's really bad at hitting people behind the head, but you know, you got to fight to the ref. Otto Wallin's actually pretty smart. People say he's overrated because he went the distance with Fury and made it competition, but really he's not that good. I think he's actually pretty decent. In fact, I'd say he's the best southpaw in the heavyweight division at the moment. Yes, he's better than Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz gets knocked down by jabs. Obviously, Charles Martin, another southpaw, ain't even as good as Luis Ortiz. But Otto Wallin, he's a very smart fighter. He's not the guy who's going to come in and knock someone's block off, but I think he could possibly give Hrgovic fits. I'm not going to say who I thought would win on that one, because that fight might actually happen one day, and I want to save my prediction for that. And I want to see a bit more of Otto Wallin at a decent level. You know, he's only fought Tyson Fury and who was the other one? Was it Dimitrenko? Or was it... No, it was the other Swedish guy. What's his name? Adrian Granat. He fought him. and beat him. So, yeah, I think Otto Wallin is underrated in a lot of places, but also overrated in a lot of places as well. But I definitely think he's the best. Oh no, sorry, I can't say he's the best southpaw in the division because we've got Alexander Usyk at heavyweight now, don't we? My bad. Alexander Usyk is definitely the best southpaw in the heavyweight division, but after that, I think it's easily Otto Wallin. Actually, I do have a story I just saw just before I jumped on about Alexander Usyk. Canelo Alvarez genuinely believes he can beat Alexander Usyk. That's a huge statement. But there's also another article I want to have a look at. It came out yesterday. It was about what's that company called? Tom Brown. He's the promoter for Jamal Charlo, Errol Spence, TGB Promotions. That's what. He come out with some ridiculous ass statements yesterday that I want to go and have a laugh at with y'all. I seen Julius from Ring IQ did a part of a piece on it yesterday, and it made me laugh. I'd seen it before I seen Julius's video and thought I might comment on it, but it's kind of nothing to do with heavyweights or anything, but it's crazy some of the shit he said, Tom Brown, and he expects people to believe it. It's crazy, but we'll get to that. Oh, we got Marla in the house as well. Good to see you, Stephen. Stephen, aka Marla. It's been a while, bro. Yes, so can Zhilei Ahang stop Scot Alexander? What do y'all reckon? Let us know in the chat. A yes or no will suffice. Not a maybe. Personally, I don't think Zhilei will stop him. I don't. I think it's going to go the distance. But at least he's got a fight and he didn't waste his training camp, I guess. Steven says, I don't think Canelo could win a round against Usyk. You got the same frame of mind as me on that one. I mean, I think Canelo's going to have trouble with Bivol, to be honest. I think he's going to have a hell of a time against Bivol. Dude's young, he's hungry, he's a very good boxer. He does have some flaws, I don't think he sits down on his punches enough at times, does Bivol. But he's defensively responsible, he's got fast feet, he's got a good jab. These are things that give Canelo problems. So, I don't know, man. We'll see come the weekend, but it's going to be interesting. What have we got here? I haven't checked out the new opponent for Zhang. Scot Alexander. I think he's 16-4-2. Never been stopped, but he hasn't fought any elite level heavyweights that I can think of off the top of my head. We had a quick look through his record. Carlos Negron he fought. Carlos beat him on points. The other one that you'd know would be Travis Kaufman. He fought him. Got a majority decision over 8, I think, as well on that one off the top of my head. Memory's just about as bad as a goldfish these days. But we'll see. Zhilei Ahang can stop Scot Alexander. Nice and definitive. Thank you for that, Adari. I think Zhilei can stop him as well, but I honestly don't think he will. But it's just an opinion. But like I was saying earlier in the stream, this might be a Zhang that we're not used to seeing if he is trained for the biggest fight of his life, he should be in excellent shape. Even for a 38-year-old, 6'6" southpaw fighting a 6'3" orthodox. Well, I think it's orthodox. Should I better look at that actually? Scot Alexander orthodox? I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah, orthodox, 6'3", 75-inch reach. 16 wins, 8 KOs, 4 losses, no KOs, 2 draws. I'm back on his record, so I might as well have a quick couple of looks. Yeah, the fight against who's that one? LeRon Mitchell, he fought. I know that dude. At the time, LeRon Mitchell was 14-0. He's a guy who likes stick and move jab. He lost that one over 10. Did Scot Alexander. Who else might recognise on here? I didn't look for this far down the record before. Majority draw. Tracy Johnson, who at the time was 3-2-3. And he only got a majority draw, mind you. Those 4-round fights, it's much easier to get a draw in those short fights. Here's another one. I lost to Rodney Hernandez. We touched on that one before. Unanimous decision loss over 6. Here's another draw. Majority decision draw over 4 rounds. Lost my mouse. To Marcus Dickerson. Never seen that type of name before. I've seen Dickinson, but this is Dickerson. Dickerson. Poor bastard. What else you got down here? Yeah, that's as far as I want to go down there. So Scot Alexander, yeah, I think he's slated for a loss here. Obviously, he's a late replacement. He'll know that, but hopefully he comes to fight and doesn't shell up too much and just fights to survive. Oh, good fight, Steve. What was that about? I hope Parker fights Joe Joyce. Yeah, will be a good fight. It will be a final eliminator for the IBO as well. Let's just hope they can get it right and make the deal. Frank Warren keeps saying that the deal's pretty much done. He's announcing all over the place that Joe Joyce will be fighting Joseph Parker, but Parker doesn't fight for peanuts, and him and his management will want to make sure the deal's right. I'm assuming that Frank Warren's going to probably try and sign Joe for 2 fights or something like that, which would be fine, but no, everything will have to be just right for Parker to sign on that dotted line. Otherwise, he'll tell Frank to jam it up his butt. And then the WBO will likely order Joyce v. Parker anyway. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't think it would be made too difficult with Joseph Parker being fully committed to being part of Team Fury pretty much, and Fury being promoted by Frank Warren. So, there is that link there that could make things a little easier. Could make negotiations a little smoother maybe, but we'll see. It is a great fight and I really want to see it happen. What else there is? Stephen Parker should come in light, so he has maximum speed and stamina. and try to outpoint Joyce. I don't think Parker will stop Joyce no matter what weight Parker comes in at. Yeah, I can agree with that. I can't see Parker stopping Joyce. The only way a stoppage happens for me is Joyce stopping Parker late due to fatigue and sustained punishment. But like you say, Stephen, if Parker can stay on his bike long enough, I think he can get ahead like after 10, maybe 7 or 8 rounds ahead just by boxing, and then he can just stay on his bike for the last 2 and run like a bitch and he can take it away. But I don't know, man. We'll see. Hopefully the fight gets made and we get to have this conversation. But for now, we're just waiting to see if that signature's going to end up on a contract, or we'll see. Can Parker beat Joyce? Yeah, I think so. I think he can. He's got the experience at the higher. He's got experience in the ring against a very high level of competition. He's pretty decent. He's showing improvement. If he can improve more under Andy Lee than what he did in the second fight against Chisora, then I got full faith that he can beat Joe Joyce. But that's the if. If he keeps improving, yes. But if he ends up stagnating again like he did for a few years, then Joyce is going to beat him. He's just going to keep coming and keep coming and keep coming, wear Parker out until it's the end of the fight, or stops him. So we'll see. So wouldn't it be a hell of a surprise if Parker stops Joyce with an uppercut? His uppercut that he's finally starting to use. I guess that's my concern, John. Oh shit, it moved. If Parker comes in heavy, it could affect stamina. That's the biggest point for Parker. Against somebody with an engine like Joyce, you can't afford to have stamina issues, because Joyce will take advantage of it. He will beat you down and he will stop you, even though he's slow as molasses. That engine and his chin, Joyce does things that somebody as slow as him shouldn't be able to do, but he does it anyway. He just steps into his jab, keep coming forward, keep coming with those thudding slow punches. Even if they hit blocks, they still manage to take it out of the opponent, break them down, slow them down, stop them. That's it, juggernaut style. I don't even do a sound check. I guess it's working because you guys can hear me. Quickly sound check here. Yeah, that sounds alright. I've done that before. Done more than an hour of streaming and not done a sound check, and holy hell, my music's way too loud and you can't hear my voice, but we're all good this time. Parker turned pro at 20. 19 actually, I think. Dove seems like has been around forever. It does, yeah. He's only 30 years old. People forget that. There ain't many guys who have been at, well, there's nobody that's been at the top of the division as long as he has, with the youth that he has. So, he did say at the start of his career, when he started getting on TV and whatnot, that he's only going to box till he's 30, 31, but I've heard him say that he's going to stop at like 34 now. So whether it'll keep getting extended or not, I'm not sure. But if he keeps showing improvement, it's going to be hard for him to hang up the gloves. At the same time, these island boys have great respect for their mother, and I think it was a promise to his mother that he made. He wouldn't box for too long. He always wants to be able to speak properly. He doesn't want to, he doesn't want to have the adverse effects of being in a long, hard career. So we'll see what happens, man. Did you enjoy that White Fury fight? I did. Had a bit of an issue because I tried to do a live commentary stream for it, but BT Sport issued a copyright takedown notice, and before the first run was over, my stream got dropped. So I was trying to sort that out and get another one going while watching the fight. I missed half of it and had to go back and watch it a couple more times. I actually watched it again yesterday. But Fury looked levels above White in that one. Levels above. White looked like a bloody taxi driver. He couldn't do shit to the big man. And some of those comments that he said afterwards, I did think I did a video on it. White playing the victim, I think it's called. Dude's delusional, thinking that it was a 50-50 fight up until that one punch. Dude was getting smoked. I mean, he wasn't getting dominated every round, but he was getting outboxed easily every round. Then he got set up for that uppercut. Good night. And he complained about the two-handed push. He was lucky it wasn't a left hook instead, because if it was a left hook instead, he may have ended up leaving in the ambulance, not coming out of hospital for a long time. Yeah, it was against the rules, but I think it was also a bit of compassion from Fury. He knew that White was done after that uppercut, staggering around like a drunk. See, even after he got up and he stumbled into the ref caught him, stopped him from falling down. And he also said that he hit his head on the canvas. I've been back and watched it, slow replay, as many angles as I can see. His shoulders and back took most of the fall, and his head went down onto the canvas gently. So, once again, you're making bullshit excuses, just like when he got knocked out by Povetkin. He says, I heard the ref count to 7 and I was about to get up. Bullshit, because the ref didn't even count. He just said it's over. He does this dumb shit after he loses, but whatever makes him feel better. If I was Dillian, I wouldn't be releasing that sort of shit in the media. I'd be keeping that between me and my friends and family. If that's what you need to do to make yourself feel better about what happened in a fight, do it that way rather than publicly, I reckon. Was a really bad fight on Hay v Harrison. What? I thought Fury v White was a really bad fight. Only Hay v Harrison was worse. I don't know. Deontay Wilder v Malik Scott was pretty bad. What was the other one? Luis Ortiz and Malik Scott was pretty bad too. There's some shocker fights out there, that's for sure. What was that one not too long ago? It was on a PBC card. Unbeaten guy, black fella, boxes and moves. What was his name? Can't remember. When he was losing the fight, started getting tuned up, so for the last 4 rounds he just ran away. I don't want to get knocked out, so I run away. That was a really bad fight too. Can't remember who it was, sorry, off the top of my head. Bruce Seldon. Tyson was bad. Yeah, well, Tyson did get away with a little bit of bad stuff in that fight, but don't forget, Dillian White was also the one trying to make it rough inside in round 4 and 5. Sticking elbows into Tyson Fury's throat, hitting Tyson behind the head. Tyson was retaliating, so, you can't complain about dirty shit if you're the one who starts the dirty shit. So I think White got exactly what he deserved. He got beaten at his own rough-ass game. And then complains, Tyson Fury gets away with everything. You hypocritical, whining bitch. Is what I'd say to that. Alright, so I'm gonna go and find this article that I wanted to have a look at with Tom Brown from TGB Promotions talking about Canelo and what he was offered to fight some PBC fighters. So just give me a second here. Where is it? It was yesterday, so I might have to look for a bit. Oh, actually, we got this one at the top here. It's Canelo. Here it is. Listen to this, y'all. Listen to this. Hopefully you can hear it. Actually, I better go and check the audio's on before I play it. Give me a sec here. We got mic. Comms audio, that's on. Where is it? Browser audio. There it is. It's on. Okay. We can go. Right, listen up, team.
Canelo genuinely believes that he can beat Usyk, says Hearn. According to promoter Eddie Hearn, who currently works with Saul Canelo Alvarez, the pound-for-pound boxer believes that he can beat Alexander Usyk, who currently holds the WBO, IBF, WBA heavyweight titles. Canelo has captured world titles at junior middleweight, super middleweight and light heavyweight. He retains this coming Saturday night against WBA light heavyweight champion Dmitry Bivol. Earlier this year, there was talk of Canelo making the leap to the cruiserweight division to challenge WBC world champion Ilunga Makabu. During last year's WBC convention in Mexico, Canelo received permission from the sanctioning body to challenge for that title. Canelo ultimately decided to go in another direction by facing Bivol on May 7th. Should Canelo win, he will drop back to super middleweight to defend his undisputed crown against Gennady Golovkin in September. Usyk will defend his heavyweight titles against Anthony Joshua in a rematch on a date in July. Canelo has told Hearn that he believes that he can beat Usyk for the heavyweight straps if the bout was made at a catch weight of 201 pounds, which is 1 pound beyond the cruiserweight limit. When we talk about mindset and winning, he genuinely believes he can beat Alexander Usyk for the world heavyweight title, Hearn told Joe.co.uk. He said to me, if you can make that fight at 1 pound above cruiserweight, which obviously Usyk was a cruiserweight, I will beat him. I find it hard not to believe him. Sometimes the only way someone like Canelo Alvarez or Vasyl Lomachenko gets beat is when they keep moving up in weight outside of where they should be. That's maybe how Canelo Alvarez gets beat, when it's a challenge too far. Usyk's manager, Egis Klimas, indicates that his boxer would be very willing to drop down to 201 pounds for such a fight, but also cautions that Canelo should keep his focus on the task at hand with Bivol.
So there you go. He thinks he could beat Usyk if it was made at a catch weight of 201 pounds, so it could still be heavyweight. I don't know. I mean, the money would be the attraction for Usyk, but I don't know if he beats Joshua for a second time. There's going to be some real money on the line. What would be better? Well, actually, see, this retirement from Tyson Fury, I think that's a way for him to avoid fighting Usyk. He knows Usyk will give him headaches, and I think he's hoping and praying that Joshua can get Usyk in the rematch so he can get that big money fight with Joshua. That's why he's retired, so he can just say, well, if Usyk wins, he can say, well, no, I'm retired, man. He's already said, funnily enough, Usyk doesn't speak any English, he doesn't make any money, so why would I want to fight him? But you know, previous to that, he said it's not about the money anymore for him. So he's the biggest hypocrite in boxing is Tyson Fury. The biggest hypocrite. So Canelo fighting Usyk, I think it's got some balls from Canelo to step up to 201 pounds. What did he start at? 147? Or he start at 154? I can't remember which. Might have been 147 actually when he was younger in Mexico. But all the way up to heavyweight, that's a far reach. And I think he's gonna have issues with Bivol at light heavyweight. I don't think Alanga Makabu would have given him too much trouble, judging by his performance against Taibisu Machunu. I thought Machunu won that fight. I think Canelo was actually at that fight to watch it, and it was that fight that pretty much turned Canelo off trying to fight Alanga Makabu. I think it'd be a better idea for him to wait until Makabu loses his title, which he will, so Don King isn't fucking involved. I wouldn't want to go anywhere near that rip-off piece of shit. But like Igis Klimas was saying, you got to focus on Dmitry Bivol. I think Igis Klimas is Ukrainian as well. So, with Dmitry Bivol being a Russian resident, he'd know all about how Dmitry Bivol fights, probably more than most. So, yeah, interesting. Anthony Joshua, nah, not interested in Joshua fighting Francis Ngannou, man, to be honest. Not interested in Tyson Fury fighting him either. There ain't no way Francis Ngannou is going to beat anybody who's ranked inside the top 15 of the heavyweight division in boxing. He's an MMA fighter. He ain't gonna, seriously, he just ain't gonna beat anybody that's worth 2 cents. But it's a good money maker for possibly Joshua, but it sounds like Ngannou came out with some quotes in the article that I saw earlier. He wants to fight Tyson Fury down the track. It's a big money fight. He praises Tyson Fury. So, yeah, it is what it is. I'm not really interested in these crossover fights, to be honest. I'm not, because they're just not as good they're good at their own disciplines. That's it, as far as I can see. Yeah, there ain't one MMA fighter that I've seen come across and fight a decent level boxer and beat them. The closest would be what's his name? Silva, the old fella, Brazilian. He beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., I reckon. They called it a draw, but I think he beat it. Anderson Silva, that's his name. I think he beat him, but yes, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was a world champion, but he sucks. He sucks, man. He got preferential treatment to get to a world title in the first place, and he still gets preferential treatment. He got his ass whooped by Anderson Silva, and they called it a goddamn draw. Usyk is a bad style match. Well, Usyk v Sanchez, I think, is an interesting fight for boxing purists. Frank Sanchez and Alexander Usyk, I think that's a real interesting matchup. But both of those guys are a bad style matchup for anybody. Absolutely anybody. Gonna make nightmares for everybody. So, they're the kind of fighters that people avoid with good reason. Ngannou will struggle as a boxer He won't have the movement, in my opinion. Yeah. There's also the guard and how MMA fighters tend to stand up a lot straighter because they're used to having to watch out for kicks. How they react to punches, how they avoid punches is a lot different. There's so much difference between the two sports, even though they're both combat sports and they both involve beating the shit out of each other. There's so much difference. I can't see any elite MMA fighter having a chance in a boxing ring against any elite boxer, and same goes the other way around. I can't see any boxer, any elite level boxer, having any luck in the octagon against an elite level MMA fighter. It's just how it is. There might be a bit of fun for casuals to see these crossovers between stars, but realistically, if you can't pick the winner before the fight starts, you don't really know what you're doing. When it comes to MMA fighter fighting a lower level boxer, that's different. What I'm saying is elite v elite in either code. It's crazy to think that someone who specializes in one at elite level can beat the other one in their own code, you know? So, yes, right, I was trying to find that other story, wasn't I? Where is it? And when I do find it, I'm going to pause after a few statements here and there because there's so many. It's like propaganda he's trying to spread. It's just crazy, man. And I believe some people are falling for this shit. What's this one? Canelo Alvarez. Where is it? Patience is key against Dimitri Bivol. Yeah, as long as you don't wait too long. If he gets too far ahead, it's going to be hard to stop because he's got good wheels on him. Sinisa Estrada, what else we got? Where is it? I was hoping that Jonathan Rice was going to get the call for the replacement against Zhilei Ahang. I was really hoping that might happen because Johnny Rice is always ready. I don't believe he's signed to anybody and he's on a bit of a high at the moment. I thought he could have been the guy that would have upset Zhilei Ahang. Fuck, I'm still have to go. Shit, they put out a lot of stories since the one I wanted to see. I should have saved it. John Real Casemiro. Oh, dang. Come on, it can't be that hard. Actually, did I drop a link on Discord about it? I think I might have. Oh, there it is. Tom Brown. Found it. Alright, check this out and I'll pause after certain paragraphs to talk about this because there's some dumber, salty shit in here, man.
Tom Brown, we offered Canelo $45 million for Charlo, $55 million for Spence at 164 or Benavidez at 168. The first two fights of Canelo Alvarez's three-fight reunion with DAZN and Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing were revealed earlier this year. If the Mexican icon defeats Dimitri Bivol on Saturday night at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Alvarez will move back down from the 175-pound division to the 168-pound limit for his long-awaited third showdown with rival Gennady Golovkin on September 17 at a venue to be determined. A third pay-per-view fight against an unknown opponent would conclude DAZN's new agreement with Alvarez. What hasn't been revealed until now is that the exact offer from Al Haymon's Premier Boxing Champions and Showtime that Alvarez turned down to accept DAZN's deal include the option of a pay-per-view fight against undefeated welterweight champion Errol Spence Jr. Tom Brown, whose company TG Beach Promotions represents Spence and Jermall Charlo, informed BoxingScene.com that PBC offered Alvarez a $45 million guarantee to fight Jermall Charlo on Saturday night, and if he would have conquered Charlo, a $55 million guarantee to fight either Spence at a catchweight of 164 pounds or David Benavidez at the 168-pound limit. His fights against Charlo, 32-0, 22 KOs, and Spence, 28-0, 22 KOs, or Benavidez, 25-0, 22 KOs, all would have been contested for Alvarez's IBF, WBA, WBC and WBO. Golovkin, the IBF and WBA middleweight champion, also would move up from the 160-pound division to challenge Alvarez for his 168-pound crowns if Alvarez beats Bivol. Alvarez's combined compensation for the Bivol and Golovkin fights is believed to be comparable to what his guarantees would have totaled for fighting Charlo and Spencer Benavidez.
So it's comparable, yet it would be fighting for Bivol's 175 WBA belt, and even the Golovkin fight, I don't think that wouldn't be for any belts besides the one Canelo has. But the money's comparable, right? That's the important part here. Let's continue.
Alvarez's combined compensation for the Bivol and Golovkin fights is believed to be comparable to what his guarantees would have totaled for fighting Charlo and Spencer Benavidez. Brown believes that Eddie Reynoso, who manages and trains Alvarez, the 2nd of January, 57-39 KOs, encouraged the 4-division champion to take a path of lesser resistance versus Russia's Bivol, 19-0.
Did you hear that right? Tom Brown thinks that Dmitry Bivol, an established 175-pound WBA champion, is less resistance than fighting a middleweight champion who's fought fucking nobody, well, hardly anybody, or a welterweight. Really, a welterweight. Errol Spence is a fucking welterweight, and he says he's less resistance than an established 175-pound champion. What kind of idiot believes that shit? Let's continue.
Brown believes that Eddie Reynoso, who manages and trains Alvarez, the 2nd of January, 57-39 KOs, encouraged the 4-division champion to take a path of lesser resistance versus Russia's Bivol, 19-0. 11 KOs, and Kazakhstan's Golovkin, the 1st of January, 42-36 KOs, who turned 40 last month. Props to Eddie Reynoso, the manager of the year, for getting Canelo these huge paydays with the least risk, Brown said.
There he goes again, the least risk. What a crock of shit!
Props to Eddie Reynoso, the manager of the year, for getting Canelo these huge paydays with the least risk, Brown said. He had him take the least risk for the most reward, because he had a chance to fight a reigning world champion at 160 pounds in Charlo, and he also had a chance to fight an undefeated 2-time former 168-pound champion in Benavidez.
Benavidez hasn't got a belt. He can't hang on to them because he keeps missing weight and sticking shit up his nose. He's got nothing to offer.
Or he could have fought the reigning welterweight champion. It was a $100 million deal. DAZN streamed each of Alvarez's 6 bouts before he aligned with PBC and Showtime for his last fight, an 11th round stoppage of former IBF champ Caleb Plant on November 6 that made the Guadalajara native boxing's first fully unified super middleweight champion of the sport's 4-belt era. Multiple sources informed BoxingScene.com in November that Alvarez Plant produced nearly 800,000 pay-per-view buys. The 31-year-old Alvarez's victory over Tennessee's Plant 21-1. 12 KOs at MGM Grand Garden Arena marked the first time Alvarez fought exclusively on a traditional pay-per-view platform since his 12th-round majority decision defeat of Golovkin in their middleweight championship rematch in September 2018 at T-Mobile Arena. HBO Sports distributed the first two Alvarez-Golovkin fights on pay-per-view. His fight for Bivol's WBA light heavyweight title represents DAZN's debut as a pay-per-view provider. Subscribers to the boxing-centric streaming service can purchase the Alvarez-Bivol event for $59.99, whereas non-subscribers will be charged $79.99.
That's in America.
Consumers can buy Alvarez-Bivol through cable and satellite providers as well. Fortunately now for Matchroom and DAZN, Brown said, they'll be able to ride our coattails from our last show with Canelo, which was not on an app. That show had the promotional muscle of both PBC and Showtime behind it. Because remember, prior to our show Canelo was kind of off of the public's radar for 6 fights in a row on the app. We brought an American world champion plant to him and put our promotional muscle behind it.
They're claiming, this dickhead is claiming that it was PBC's promotional engine that made them sell 800,000 pay-per-views. It's Canelo's profile that produced those 800,000 views. And as for saying Canelo was relatively unknown on an app, that's a load of horse shit. You know, the attendance record for, I can't remember where it was, for the Billy Joe Saunders fight, the attendance record for that venue was busted wide open. 73,000 people attended. And this clown's saying just because it's on an app, it was relatively unknown. What a load of horse shit. And riding their coattails is going to make this fight big? No! It's because Canelo's big. This dickhead, I mean, PBC, Canelo had a one-night stand with PBC. It's the best way to describe it. He went over there, got what he wanted, and then he went home. Called them an Uber, said, get the fuck out of here. And this clown is saying it's their fault that Canelo's selling so well. Never mind, he's the biggest name in boxing. This guy's a fucking idiot.
And look, we did 800,000 buys in today's world. We also had 16,500 people at MGM Grand, and we did an $18 million gate.
Oh, 16,000.
Remember, he had 70,000 plus in Arlington and he did a $9 million gate. The attendance for Alvarez's stoppage of England's Billy Joe Saunders drew an announced crowd of 73,126 to the Dallas Cowboys AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas last May 8. That figure established an indoor record for boxing attendance in the United States. The previous mark of 63,352 stood for more than 42 years, since Muhammad Ali regained the WBA heavyweight.
And this clown's claiming it's all PBC's fault that this attendance record got broken. No! It's because it's Canelo, you fucking idiot. He hit you and quit you, and now you salty, bitch!
The previous mark of 63,352 stood for more than 42 years, since Muhammad Ali regained the WBA heavyweight title from Leon Spinks in an immediate rematch that took place in September 1978 at the Superdome in New Orleans. Spence, the IBF WBA, WBC welterweight champ, also has been a considerable draw at AT&T Stadium, near his hometown of DeSoto, Texas. His 12-round, unanimous decision defeat of Cuba's Yordenis Ugas attracted an announced crowd of 39,946 on April 16. The 32-year-old Spence seems headed toward a long-awaited title unification fight against WBO champ Terence Crawford next. Brown applauded his fighter's confidence, though, for embracing a potential opportunity to move up 3 weight classes to battle Alvarez at a catchweight. Errol Spence is that next guy in boxing, Brown said. He's already a pay-per-view star. He's doing legitimate gates. And look, he has shown his mettle. He was willing to move up more than 2 weight divisions to fight Canelo to bolster his legacy.
So he says he'll move up. That doesn't make him give him the medal, right? And also, he says Spence is the next guy in boxing. He's 32 years old, right? He's older than Canelo, and he don't even have the profile. He doesn't have half the profile. He doesn't even have quarter of the profile of fucking Canelo. This guy's a fucking dickhead. How do people believe this shit? I can't believe he's got the gall to put this shit on paper and expect people to believe it. Does he think... That's what it is. Everybody out there, you are the public. You can read this and believe it because you're all thicker than pig shit, is what he's telling you, right? How does that make you feel?
He was willing to move up more than 2 weight divisions to fight Canelo to bolster his legacy. It does show how special he really is and what a true champion he is. Keith Idec is a senior writer, columnist for BoxingScene.com. He can be reached on Twitter at IDecBoxing. Kushking the 4th of May 2022.
So that was that article, but far out. Do they seriously think people are going to believe any of that shit? This is Tom Brown on behalf of PBC trying to put shade on Canelo because he didn't sign any type of long-term commitment deal with them. PBC are sour that they were the one-night stand hoe. They got hit and quit. Canelo called them an Uber, told them to fuck off, and now they are sour. They are sour. Anyway, I'm going to get back to the chat and see what y'all are talking about. Shit. Jono, in New Zealand, they are showing Floyd Mayweather junior exhibition. Fight in the Middle East. Pay-per-view. I won't buy it. I won't buy it. Jono, who do you have? What do we got here? Who do you have winning out of Taylor and Serrano? I had Taylor winning. Initially, I scored it 7-3 to Taylor. On second watch, I had it 6-4 to Taylor. But I wouldn't argue with the draw. But I don't think Serrano won it. She won 3 rounds convincingly, being rounds 3, 4, and 5. I think rounds 2 and round 6 were pretty close and pretty much could have gone either way. I definitely gave round 2 to Taylor. First time round I gave 6 to Taylor, but second time round I gave it to Serrano. But I thought Taylor swept rounds 7 through 10, easily 1-1. I thought it was a great fight. I don't like how Jake Paul's come out and said stuff like Serrano's normal weight is featherweight. She came up and fought the bigger girl, blah, 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 blah. That's a bullshit excuse because Amanda Serrano's first belt she ever won was at lightweight anyway. She's been up as high as 140. So, oh shit, she might have even fought at 147 for a fight. I can't remember. But Jake Paul coming out with that shit to try and save face is taking the shine off a superb fight that I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch of. It's not often I'll say that about a woman's fight because I don't usually enjoy women's fights, but that was a good fight. I gave rounds 4, 5, and 6 to Serrano, yeah. I'm going to watch the fight again. Oh, what'd you say there? 4, 5, and 6. Where did that comment go? Rounds 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, look at round 3, bro, because that's where Serrano started bludgeoning Katie. I thought it was rounds 3, 4, and 5. Obviously 5 where Katie nearly got knocked out. Was definitely a Serrano round, but she started her onslaught in round 3. Carried it through to round 5. I think in round 6 she was feeling a bit gassed after trying to get Taylor out of there, and she kind of slowed down a bit. Definitely round 7 it looked like she was taking a round off, but she ended up paying the price for the rest of the fight. Serrano has fought in several weight divisions, yeah, but what I was getting at was Jake Paul's implying that Katie Taylor's a weight bully. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Nobody forced Serrano to come up to 135. I know she's campaigning at feather or super feather. I can't remember which one. I think it's featherweight. 126 to yeah, she's campaigning at 126 to try and become undisputed, and good on her for that. And there's nothing wrong with, you know, going back down there and doing what she wants to do. She could fight Katie Taylor again, and I'd watch it, but she may have better luck, but I don't think she will have any better luck. You know, I think Katie Taylor's trainer, you could hear her at the start of round 3, started telling her, step to her, step to her. So she did, and that's where she started getting tagged up and bludgeoned. So she knows the blueprint to beat Serrano. Now, if she stays boxing and moving all night, there's a good possibility Katie could win every round, you know. So I hope that coach has changed his mind on what he thinks Katie should do, because she ain't got the power to compete inside, standing toe-to-toe with Serrano. Serrano's power is real. Even up at middleweight. Should even up at 140. So, yeah. Who the hell is Jake? Who the hell is Jake Paul to talk about weight? Yeah, he's a cruiserweight that fights welters, that's right. Yeah. His audience that he has, the social media, younger generation, they suck up everything he says, so I can understand why he's doing it, but the boxing fans, the actual boxing fans, not the social media fans, find that sort of shit hard to swallow. I don't like it myself. Hope they show Charlo Castano rematch in New Zealand. I'm sure they will. It'll be on Sky Sports or Spark Sports, one or the other. But if not, you know where to go to find it. The Big Boys Boxing Discord server, which is in the description. You find out details how to watch it there. What else we got here? The trainer almost lost the fight for a year. I agree, man. Yeah, totally, Phil. Step to her. Against a power puncher. Good thinking, what a fucking muppet. I agree, Jono, as long as Taylor stayed out of the pocket, that's right. And avoided slugging it out. Yeah, I think she could clean sweep Serrano if she stayed boxing. I mean, I'm not saying she would, but she could. It's a blueprint. She's obviously the better boxer. She just doesn't have the power to be able to stop Serrano, or probably even put Serrano down. So, yeah, it is what it is, man. So we had some fight announcements, like I said. We got Otto Wallen is going to be fighting Rydell Booker. I'm waiting to hear an announcement for Junior Farr v Lucas Brown. That's going to be on the 4th of, shit, is it June? July? Can't remember. It's on the Kambosos v Devin Haney card. Let's go see if it's confirmed. Apparently Lucas Brown has already signed his part of the contract. He's been in there training and sparring with... oh, it is announced. There it is. Lucas Big Daddy Brown v Junior Farr is official. It's on BoxRec. Lucas Brown, 30-3, 6'4", is going to be taking on Junior Farr, 19-1. That's going to be in Brisbane on the, it's saying the 5th here, but it'll be the 4th in New Zealand. I've got this set wrong because it should be the 4th. I believe it's the 5th in America. But anyways, that's going to be happening. That's good news. I expect Lucas Brown to get his head boxed off of that one, to be honest. Junior's very defensive, very defensively minded, and pretty quick with good feet. Lucas Brown slow feet. He hits hard enough, but he ain't going to get to Junior Farr. Hell to the no. But good on him for trying to take it. And there's also another fighter I expect to be announced to get a fight on that card. He's also a Lou DiBella fighter these days. He's also a New Zealand heavyweight, Hemi the Heat Ahio. I think he should be getting a fight on that card. I'm not sure. There's no whispers that I've heard about who the opponent may be, but I don't expect it to be anybody too high profile. There's a lot of money being shelled out for Kambosos v Haney, but like I've said in previous posts, previous videos, I wouldn't mind seeing Hemi Ahio have a tune-up against Django Apilu. What's his real name? I better find it. Lucas Brown fought him not too long ago, and Justice Hooney fought him for the Australian heavyweight title. Shit, I think it was in his pro debut. There it is. Fainga Apilu. He comes to fight, man. He's not a big heavyweight. He's 14-2. His 2 losses is to Lucas Brown and Justice Hooney. Oh, sorry, he's got 3 losses. My bad. He's got 1 draw as well. He got stopped in the 7th by Justice Hooney. It was a pretty good fight. He was tagging up Hooney for a while. He ran out of gas a bit. The Lucas Brown fight, he was beating the snot out of Lucas Brown, but he ran out of gas, and then Brown started landing some big shots on him and stopped him in the 7th as well. But he comes to the fight. He's obviously an island boy. He's from Australia. Well, I'm just trying to find. Has it got a birthplace here? It does. He's Samoan, right? Fainga Apilu. He's Samoan, currently lives in Queensland. He's Orthodox, age 28. Doesn't have a height and reach here, but I think he's about 6'2", 6'1" or 6'2", and yeah, he comes to fight. He's got a pretty good chin when he's been stopped. The both times I've seen him stopped, there's just been a referee stoppage. So I think it'll be a good matchup for Hemi Ahio. It'll be fire, and it wouldn't be too expensive for Lou DiBella to get that happening. But I suspect maybe they are trying to get something a little bit better for Hemi, hence the delay in any type of announcement. I would have thought the announcement would have come out the same time as Junior Farr's announcement. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I think Hemi's still training at City Kickboxing, but Junior Farr is now being trained by Kevin Barry. So whether it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing for Junior, I'm not sure. I don't even know if Junior's actually training over in the States, in Vegas, where Kevin Barry lives in his gym is, or is Kevin coming over here to train him for this upcoming fight. I'm sure he has no issues coming home to visit every now and then, does Kevin. Probably gives him an opportunity to do exactly that. So we'll see. What about Hemi v Gerald Washington? Yeah, I like that fight. It's a huge size difference. So remember, Hemi's only 6 foot. But if Gerald Washington's still with PBC, it's not likely to happen. Because PBC fired Lou DiBella when he tried to get Deontay Wilder. Well, he did get an opportunity for Deontay Wilder to make $120 million over 3 fights. Lou DiBella brokered that deal with DAZN, and he got fired for it. So, yeah, if Gerald Washington's still with PBC, it's not likely to happen. It's a good fight, though. It's a good fight, though, Adri. No complaint, man. Is Andy Ruiz fighting Luis Ortiz? Yes, he is. 13th of August. That fight has been made. I saw the news break a couple of days ago on that. As we know, Andy Ruiz tried to fight. Who was it? It wasn't Bogdandino. Oh, who was it? Oh, that guy, Tyrone Spong. He was going to fight. He signed to fight Tyrone Spong on Triller, and apparently he'd already signed a contract to fight Luis Ortiz prior to that. But you know, Luis Ortiz had got injured and turned down the IBF eliminator with Filip Hrgovic. So I assume Andy Ruiz thought, okay, he's injured, I'll have to go and find myself a fight. He went and found himself a fight against Tyrone Spong on Triller, and you know, it was a day later. Luis Ortiz came out and said, "You're a coward, Andy Ruiz. You're supposed to be fighting me." Blah 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 blah. And then it came out 2 days later that no, Andy Ruiz will not be fighting Tyrone Spong. He will be fighting Luis Ortiz on the 13th of August at such and such a location because he already signed a contract for it. So Al Heyman can't even control his own freaking stable at the moment. Yeah, I got Ruiz by stoppage too. I mean, if Luis Ortiz is going to go down with jabs from Charles Martin, he's definitely going to get stopped by the whirlwind of punches from Andy Ruiz. He's looking like he's in fairly decent shape lately, is Andy Ruiz. Although, like I've said in the past, got to be careful with some of the pictures and videos you're looking at with Andy Ruiz, because he tends to post shit from the past and make it try and sound like that's what's going on. You know, when he was getting ready for the Joshua rematch, he was posting pictures that I recognized as pictures from before his title shot against Joseph Parker. So he was posting pictures from that old to make himself look like he was in shape. But we all know very well, when he turned up on the day, he'd been training by eating fucking donuts and tacos. Fat fuck. What do we got here? Andrew's next suggestion: Tyrone Spong v Hemi. Yeah, it'll be alright. It'll be alright. The fight I really want to see Hemi in, and has been for a couple of years now, is Hemi v Alan Babic. That would be some fire. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully the next week or so we might get something about a announcement for Hemi the Hooter. Yo. Right, let's quickly shoot back over to boxing scene, see what the new stories are. I didn't really look specifically before. Excuse me. I was looking for specific content before. Dana White concerned what Kamaru Usman to stay away from. Dana White wants Usman to stay away from Canelo Alvarez. Who cares what Dana White says? He's not a boxing guy. Yeah, Canelo generally thinks he can beat Usyk. We saw that one. Charlo v Selecki, Showtime. Why is he fighting this guy? Why is he fighting Selecki? Fucking chump. This is a guy that, what? He didn't Golovkin smash him over years ago? So why is he fighting that bum? He's supposed to be a champion. More like a champion. Gilberto Ramirez hopes delaying Canelo Bivol. Everybody wants to fight Canelo. Why come out and say it in the media? It's like these dudes are all sitting there waiting to win the Canelo sweepstakes. Gilberto Ramirez hopes to land Canelo or Bivol. I'm ready to beat both. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're ready to collect the check, is all you are. So, shut up. What do we got here? Badu Jack discusses ring return in May. Oh, he wants to come over. Yeah. Nah. Alright. We'll look for news that we're interested in. Artur Beterbiev versus Joe Smith Jr. It's official now for June 18th at Hulu Theatre in MSG. Okay. The winner of that is more likely to get Canelo than Gilberto Ramirez. I'm sure that's Zerdo, isn't it? Gilberto. Shakur Stevenson, ready and willing to face Vasily Lomachenko. Wow. Why are you talking about Lomachenko when he's in Ukraine and not coming out until the war's gone? Wasting. God, these guys are fucking clowns. Let's talk about someone that can't fight right now. Doing Luis Ortiz. Punk ass bitch. I think we're getting to the bottom of the barrel here, team. What's this? Williams trainer. No. Alright, I'm going to give some predictions. I'm going to give some of my predictions now. Yo. So I'll get this card. I'm going to go pretty quick through this, so pay attention. Dimitri Bivol v Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez decision. Montana Love v Gabriel Goles Valenzuela. Montana Love knockout between 6 to 10 because it's a 10-round fight. The Shakurban, what the hell? Shakurban Gayasov, 12-0 against Christian Gomez. I wouldn't have a freaking clue. But looking at their record, I think this how do you say it? Shakbran Gayasov. Giasov. He's 12-0. I think he'll get a stoppage win. It's a welterweight fight, but I'm guessing. Looking at the records, don't know them. Josecito Vasquez. This is flyweight, so I have no freaking clue. But I'll say Josecito Vasquez. Yeah, decision over 12 over Jose Soto. Stupid flyweights. I'm interested in those midgets. Alright, here we go. Zhilei Ahang, Scot Alexander. I'm picking Zhilei Ahang for a 12-round decision. Not a stoppage. A decision. Next down the card is a middleweight fight. Alexis Espino. This one's going to be a good fight, I think. Who's 9-0-1. He's taking on Aaron Silva, who is 9-0. I'll take Espino on points. And then we've got three more fights at the bottom of that card that I'm not interested. Light, super light, and feather. So I'm not even going to bother with them. So one last quick look back at the chat before I shut this mofo down, since nobody seems to be joining me today. I'm getting some messages here. Just have a quick look, make sure. No, I'm in the chat. There's no issues, so it's not someone asking to get in there. Right, last few comments. What do we got here? I read that Tyrone Spong. Himia v Marius Vuk. Oh, that'd be a tough one. But Marius Vuk is pretty old. Now, I think Hemi might get him on points. He won't stop Wok. He's too short to be able to do so, and Wok's got a pretty damn good chin. This will be a good test for him. Yeah, right. Oh, you just made your picks. That's what those messages I heard was. I hope you weren't copying what I said. Mind you, my picks in the prediction league will be slightly different, possibly. Tactically, to try and get past Rodolfo Rivera, who's winning our prediction league by 1 point over me. So yeah, we'll see. I'll make mine probably tomorrow, I think. I got Canelo by UD. Yeah, I will definitely be throwing just a couple of bucks on Bivol by decision, because I think he's got a good chance of doing that. And last time I looked, it was paying like 13-1. So if you chuck 10 bucks on it, or a lazy fiver even, you still get what, 60. If you put 5 bucks on it, you still get 65 bucks out of it for 5 bucks. You know, I think he's got a good shot at getting it. You know, people keep banging on about Canelo getting unfair decisions, but I think if you look at it, ever since he's been with the Zone, the cards that have come out of the Canelo fights have actually been pretty fair. It was prior to when he was with the Zone, he seemed to get this some bullshit scorecards. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. I think Bivol's a tougher fight than fighting Artur Beterbiev even. Sure, Beterbiev hits harder, but he's slower and he doesn't possess the attributes that give Canelo problems. So yeah, it's going to be certainly very interesting. I mean, I think there is a possibility that Canelo may be able to stop Bivol late, but he's going to have to be able to get to that body early to be able to slow him down enough to get to him. If he can't get to that body before round 7 or 8, then I think he might end up getting outpointed. Bivol's got a better gas tank than Kovalev. He's got a better jab than Kovalev. He's got better feet than Kovalev. Pretty much does everything except hit as hard as Kovalev. And Kovalev was actually, he was giving Canelo some real trouble up until that stoppage. Or shortly before the stoppage, you could see him starting to capitulate. So, yeah, don't underestimate Bivol. I know there's a lot of people just saying, oh, I don't even know who Bivol is. He can't win. Well, I'm not a real boxing fan if you don't know who Dimitri Bivol is. And if you're not smart enough to go and look at some fight film, if you don't know, and then make a blind pick because you don't know the dude, then you're crazy. You're crazy. Yes, I agree with that. What else got here? Page down, you goddamn thing. Page won't move. There we go, now it's moving. Phil Roberts. I picked them just before you made your predictions. Oh, sweet as Phil. I was only joking, bro. I was only joking. I don't care if you copy my picks. But like I said, be warned, mine will be slightly, I think I'm going to try and do some slightly different picks to Rodolfo Rivera this week so I can try and get past him. It may sting me, but either way, I don't want the same points as him because I don't want to stay 1 point behind him. But if you figured out Discord there, Stephen, get over, we've got a prediction league going. There's a $75 first prize and a $25 second prize at the end of the year, New Zealand dollars. Look at the scoring system. It's quite easy to pick up a whole lot of points real quick if there's knockout fights. And there's at least a couple on there this weekend that I think are potentially knockouts. So, yeah, get involved if you want to, bro. What's this? The first Triple G fight. Oh, there's a loss on points no matter. Oh no, the first Triple G fight. Where the? There we go. The first Triple G fight. What has made people think that Canelo cards? Yes, definitely. I thought Triple G won the first one. The second one, I thought it was a draw or Canelo win. There's no way Triple G won the second for me. But those, like that article said, those were both on HBO. So, yeah. I initially thought that Bivol would win, but the more I think about it, the more I think that Canelo will win. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I was thinking exactly the same at the very start. I was pretty convinced that Bivol could get a points decision win here. But I guess it's a lot to do with everybody saying Canelo will win. Canelo will win. Everywhere you go, Canelo will win. It's hard to think that someone who's had so much success against the top of the stack at 168 recently, that he could have any kind of trouble. But yeah, like everybody, like many keep pointing out, Dimitri Bivol is a very, very skilled fighter. He's an established 175 fighter. He's not old like Kovalev is. He wasn't he's not battle worn like Kovalev was. So you gotta keep your own thoughts at the front of your mind. Don't let other people's opinions sway you. Be solid in what you think, because I find that your initial thoughts, well, my initial thoughts are usually pretty damn close, and when I start getting swayed and listening to other people's opinions, it gets me further off the beaten track. And if you're betting, man, that's a good way to lose money. There's plenty of time to accumulate points. Yeah, well, so if you've got, say I've got 15 points and Rodolfo's got 16. Last week we both had 3, but the first week we only had 1 fight to pick from. Last week we had 3 fights to pick from. This week we've got 3 fights to pick from. That might go up to 4. Might put Zhilei Ahang and Scot Alexander back in there. But a decision win fights, if you pick a decision win, you get 3 points out of it. But if there's a knockout win, you can accumulate up to 10 points per fight if there's a knockout. So, there's potentially 30 points up for grab this weekend already, just with the 3 fights. If all of them are knockouts, there's 30 points. But if they're all decisions, there's only 9 points available. So, yeah, go and check it out anyway, man. But yeah, you can accumulate points really quickly if you start getting good predictions on knockout fights. So, yeah. I will jump on later and have a check out. Sweet as, good on you, bro. Alright, well, if there's anything you guys would like to mention, let us know. I watched it again. Well, I watched it for the first time the other day, and I didn't talk about it on my last stream. Hasim Rahman Jr. and James Mackenzie Morrison are the 2 sons of legends. One of the sons of Tommy Morrison, and obviously Hasim Rahman's son. Got it on last weekend. It went 5 rounds. Man, Hasim Rahman Jr. looked a hell of a lot better boxer. He looked relaxed in there. He's got an amateur pedigree. Kenzie Morrison looked pretty wild. He was winging big shots, throwing pretty much nothing but headshots. He's landing a few here and there, but nothing seemed to be bothering Rahman for the first 3 rounds. But then in the 4th, Rahman seemed to be starting to getting bothered. He kept getting caught with a bit of a left hook, just like Tommy Morrison. Kenzie was landing a few, and a straight right hand was starting to bother him. He was on the back foot, switching stances all the time. He looked pretty flash, but he was eating too many shots. And then in the 5th, he got caught with a big right hand, went down. He looked like he was stunned a bit. He did manage to get up. He beat the count. And Kenzie came in with a couple of big swinging, I think it was a right hand and a left hook. Rahman leaned back against the ropes, trying to defend himself, and the ref stepped in and stopped it. I thought the stoppage was too early, but you defend yourself and don't throw any punches after being put on your wallet. There's a high chance the referee's going to stop it. So the better boxer, who seemed to be more worried about looking good rather than fighting good, got stopped by a guy who looked like he was ragged and green. I just laughed my ass off when I watched it, because, like I said, seemed to be worried more about looking good than fighting good. Switching stances, look what I can do, look, I can get out of the way of some punches. Didn't really land anything too heavy. He was popping a 1-2 now and then and landing them cleanly, but they weren't affecting Morrison. Morrison was breathing heavy by the start of the 2nd round, like he was gassed from winging those big shots, and he still couldn't take advantage of it. Managed to get caught in the jaw, managed to get put on his wallet, and managed to get stopped by the referee, all because he wanted to look good. Idiot! But the fight is on YouTube, the full fight. I think if you go to Batman Boxing, you can find the full fight. Go and check it out if you want to watch it. It's entertaining. It was a Roy Jones show, so it was funny too. The commentators were saying, oh, look at Ruckman. He looks so relaxed. He looks like he's so much better boxer. Oh, look at Kenzie. He's just winging those big shots. He doesn't really have any pedigree. He looks like he's blowing. Oh, it's a good way to get knocked out doing that. And then boom, he knocked out the guy that they were talking up. It cracked me up. So I guess according to the commentary team, Hasim Ruckman Jr. was supposed to win, but they got it wrong. Yeah, it was a. Oh, I think I posted it in the boxing chat, Phil. If you wanted to go and have a look, it should be a recent post. I posted the full fight in the boxing chat on Discord, so check it out, man. Alright, man, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate your time. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Actually, I should play this thing. Do this, man. Then you won't miss anything in the future. So, that's it for today. I'll catch you all next time. Take it easy. Be safe. Stay away from the Rona.
So that's us for today. I hope you have enjoyed. You can show your appreciation with a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Be sure to check out our Discord community where you can find boxing news, fight links, live streamed fights, and much more. So look after yourself and your family. I'm Jono from Big Boys Boxing, and I'm out. See you!